The red dust of the Okavango flares up like a storm. A pride of lions emerges from the deserted land. Who will be the last to survive? A confederation of male lions takes bloody land in Okavango. Dawn creeps over the Okavango like a thin layer of fire across the parched earth. The dry season has turned this place into a harsh frontier. Rivers are only stagnant. Red dust clings to every blade of grass, and the wind carries heat and the lingering smell of old flesh. Along the southern edge of the Okavango, traces of a pride of female lions still linger in the air, a land that is both vacant and dangerous, but also a lucrative prey for any young male alliance that wants to regain power. And it is on this sunburned frontier that 5 large silhouettes of a male alliance appear, carrying with them the ambition to reclaim what was once stolen. Five male lions come together not because of blood, but because of the same instinct. The lone will die in silence. Alliance can rewrite fate. They come from different prides, different lands, but all were pushed away from their birthplace when the mother pride no longer had enough prey to feed. At this age, they are no longer children, but not yet kings of the grasslands. They are hungry, tired wanderers, and have in their eyes an ambition that no one can extinguish. The Okavango borderland is a temporary home, but to turn it into a real territory, they need a female pride. The night has not yet ended. The sky north of Okavango has roared so long that the buffalo herd has to stop chewing grass. In the pale gray, 5 heavy shadows. The storm of power has begun since the night before dawn. The day before, while Nyara and the Lioness Alliance had been following the southern buffalo herd, trying to soothe the emptiness torn from their hearts by the hyenas, in the north, the scent of buffalo, of an unfamiliar lioness, and of another strange male had reached the nostrils of the alliance that once ruled this place. They were no longer young, but still strong enough to turn any dawn into a declaration of teeth and blood. The largest stood at the head of the line, its mane ashen gray, its hair singed at the tips from its brush against thorns while hunting buffalo. It had been called Karo, the contrary wind, because it always went into the land of others instead of waiting. On its shoulders were 3 deep scars from the buffalo horns, which had healed but made each step feel heavy, as if the ground beneath its feet were always softening under the weight. Behind Karo were 4 other males, slightly smaller but still with thick manes, round, muscular bodies, eyes as yellow as unburned coals. They had left their old territory 2 rainy seasons ago when a younger alliance came. Driven from their former territory, they went to the land of buffalo herds and reckless hunting. But each night, the distant roars reminded them that the old throne was still occupied. There was something else in the scent of the night air. The young male's new pheromones were not as strong as before, mixed with the colostrum from the southern pride of lionesses and the scent of the buffalo herds that had just drawn near the edge of their territory. To Karo, it was a signal. The new ruler had lost focus. He had gone too far south, chasing the females who were opposing him, leaving a gap between the swamp and the dry land, right where Karo had stood roaring for so many years. The early morning sun crept over the edge of the meadow, casting a thin layer of gold on the droplets of water clinging to the reeds. The black herd of buffalo moved slowly through the hollow, chewing grass but twitching its ears at the strange sounds. Occasionally, an old buffalo raised its head, its horns sweeping the air like an invisible warning line. It could not see the lion, but it sensed a change. The scent of these 5 bulls was not like the scent of the young coalition that ruled now. It was the scent of those who had lived long enough to know that only the patient could hold the land. Karo stopped on a low knoll overlooking the valley. The fur on his back bristled as the wind brought the familiar scent. The scent of urine marking his territory, faded and overlaid by the new, but still there, stubborn as a scar that refused to heal. He inhaled deeply, letting his breath creep over his rough chest. Farther away, near where the old acacia bushes grew in rows, was the scent of the young males who had forced him to retreat, who had just come to the southern pride of lionesses and threatened Nyara's cubs. Lions are not born to stay. When they come of age, they are driven away by their own pride, drifting across unknown lands, learning to hunt alone, learning to starve for weeks at a time. A male cannot survive alone. They seek each other at night, forming alliances of 2, 3, 4, or 5, relying on each other to survive. And when they are strong enough, they attack prides that already have female lions, drive out the old males, kill the cubs, force the females back into heat to spread their genes. It is a cruel but simple strategy. Kill the other generation to make room for your own. The death of the cub at the jaws of the hyenas in the south is just a small piece of that complex map of power. For if the young male had not been stopped by Nyara and her female alliance, he would still return, kill the remaining cubs, and then stand roaring over the land as if no one had lived there before him. But there is one thing the male lions sometimes forget. They are not the only ones who want land. The displaced males, like Karo and his alliance, wait on the edge of the boundary, like storms lying dormant on the horizon, waiting for the slightest crack to rush in and sweep everything away. At midday, the sun beats down on the Okavango like hot lead. The air trembled, blurring the distant stretch of grass. Karo led the herd along the shallow stream, where strange lion tracks were imprinted in the cracked mud, each one a challenge to the wind. The remaining 4 cubs crouched low, their manes brushing the dry grass, their eyes fixed on the horizon. They did not roar. They did not need to announce their arrival. A true storm always calmed before it struck. The first roar of the young alliance came from the edge of the buffalo herd. A higher, more urgent sound, lacking the deep, thick quality of the experienced ones. It sounded more like a man asserting himself than a king already seated. Karo tilted his head, listening. He heard impatience in the roar, which he would exploit. The moment the 2 alliances saw each other, the wind seemed to stop. 5 Karo males on one side, 3 young males on the other, standing on 2 opposite slopes. In the middle was a hollow filled with dry dust that had been stirred up by the buffalo herd. The sky above seemed to sink, weighing down the steppe in a thick silence. The young male who had approached the acacia tree where Nyara had hidden her recognized his opponent first. He roared, his black mane bristling, trying to make himself look bigger. The roar echoed. But when it touched Karo's gray mane, it shattered like a wave crashing against a cliff. Karo did not respond. He just walked down the slope, each step slow but sure, forcing his opponent to decide. The young male chose to charge. The first collision shook the ground. Red dust flew up, obscuring the 2 giant bodies that were entwined. White teeth flashed between the dark brown manes. The hoarse hiss of breath mixed with the scratching of hooves on flesh created a chaotic music that only the steppe could understand. In that dust, Karo did not try to win with youth. He won with experience. He did not pounce on the shoulder where the mane was thickest, but circled down, and bit straight into the ribs. For male lions, territory is more than just a piece of land. It is a voice, an honor. The only thing that allows them to have a female pride and pass on their bloodline. Each roar is a challenge. In nature, male lion alliances are like blocks of stone tied together not by blood, but by purpose, to occupy and protect territory. They do not need to be close. They only need each other to make their roars resonate further, to make their footprints deeper, to let strangers know that this land is owned. Each lion contributes to that circle. The night watchman, the tree marker, the one who rushes into battles that a single individual would never dare to enter. But the strength of the alliance is only as strong as the strength of all its members to run and fight together. A serious wound not only slows one lion, but also shakes the whole territory. In the world of the male lion, where every breath must emit the scent of the ruler, slowness is an invitation to the enemy. The afternoon passed like a layer of light compressed behind the acacia trees. The roars of the first battle still lingered somewhere on the ground, hanging in the thick air. Karo's alliance stood still for a long time after the young rival withdrew, breathing heavier in rhythm. But the victory did not make them impatient. Experienced males never celebrate in a hurry. Karo walked around the edge of the hollow, sniffing the scent under the trampled dust. The scent of their opponents wasn't too strong, a sign that they weren't completely confident. But they weren't weak either. The young alliance had a mixture of youthful fervor and instinct. Both were dangerous. The male growled low into the north wind. The wind carried another scent. Not buffalo, not females, but the scent of return. The young ones weren't giving up. They were just changing positions. Karo glanced at his four allies. They understood. None of them turned to retreat. They simply spread out, narrowing their formation into a bow. It wasn't an attack. It was a way of forcing their opponents into a blind corner if they were to come face to face again. The late afternoon sun sank into the dry reeds, turning the ground into a dark grid of streaks. The buffalo herd had left the hollow, leaving behind patches of plowed dry mud where lion and buffalo tracks intertwined like a half-drawn war map. Karo lowered his head. He couldn't see the enemy, but he could read them on the wind, like a memorized line. Then suddenly, a roar broke from the valley's edge. The battle broke out in a single breath. The sound of feet pounding the ground echoed through the grass, quick and urgent. All four young males suddenly surged forward at once, as if the first battle hadn't deterred them. The dust underfoot stirred. The wind changed direction. In that moment, when the two sides had just come into each other's sight, as the last light of day fell, Karo's alliance could not have imagined that one of them would never again run on equal footing with the herd. Far to the south, where Nyara and the Lioness Alliance were following another herd of buffalo, the same roar came, faint but clear as a memory. Nyara stopped, ears pricked. Savanna lifted her head from the shoulder of her surviving cub, her eyes flashing with something both strange and familiar. Imba looked north, where the horizon was dyed red by sunset. In the world of lionesses, the scent and roar of a new male could be the promise of stronger cubs, a safer territory, or it could be the warning of a new purge, if those males decided to wipe out all traces of the old generation. Nyara did not know who Karo was. She only knew that whenever power changed hands, the cubs were always the first to pay the price. Night fell slowly over the Okavango. The hyenas traced the old blood trail around the bottom of the valley, licking up what was left. The vultures gave up hope and spread their wings, flying heavily west. On the central knoll, the 5 new males of the land lay sprawled, tongues lolling from their mouths, breathing heavy like hot wind. They had won back their territory, but at a heavy price. One of Karo's pride had a deep gash in the shoulder, blood still seeping through his heart. It lay a little apart, eyes looking up at the starry sky, as if reading the invisible cracks in it. Tomorrow, they will have to patrol, remark every bush, every mound. They will have to find the lionesses who heard their roars on the wind. And somewhere along the way, the fates of Nyara, Sana, Imba, and the remaining cub will be forced to intersect with this newly reborn storm of power. In the Okavango, no victory is permanent. Every roar today is just a promise of tomorrow's encounters, where the line between protector and destroyer is as thin as the red dust that has just been erased by each footstep. So, what do you think will happen when the alliance of 5 males follows the scent of Nyara and the mother lions? Will they become a new shield for the surviving cubs? Or will they open another tragedy on the Savanna? And what will the lone lion face without the pride by his side? Leave your predictions in the comments section. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell, so you don't miss the next episode of The Lion, the ruler of the Savanna.
In the scorching heat of Namibia, venom is not just a weapon. It is the boundary between life and death. When the small one challenges death with intelligence, and each attack can be the final blow. Every encounter is a life or death bet. Who is the most feared? The battle is about to begin. Harsh Namibia, the war with venom. Namibia, a fiery world in the heart of Africa, where the red sand dunes of the Namib Desert stretch like waves, painting a landscape that is both beautiful and cruel. This is a land where the wind sings on the rocks, the sun melts every grain of dust, and life is always tested to its ultimate limit. In the seemingly endless aridity, nature still rises strongly. With resilient creatures, life and death chases, and silent predators waiting for their chance in the dark. But among the scorching sand and the low bushes scattered on the dry stone floor, there is another force moving silently. Just a slight curve through the dry grass is enough to make the heart of the whole land wary. Cobra, the silent ghost of the Namibian desert. Its body can exceed 2 meters long, covered with smooth scales of brown, black or grey depending on the region. Softly undulating but carrying a hidden murderous aura. Its most prominent feature is its neck, that can expand into the shape of a car hood, formed from special ribs. Like a shield to intimidate the enemy. Its round eyes with vertical pupils always observe coldly, reflecting a chilling calm. The cobra does not hunt in a hurry. It waits, strikes precisely with extremely fast pecks, injecting neurotoxins that can paralyze the victim in just a few minutes. Its food is very diverse, from mice, lizards, young birds to even smaller snakes. Some species can even eat eggs and are not afraid to attack larger creatures if provoked. The cobra's behavior is nocturnal or early morning, but on cool days it can also appear during the day. When threatened, it raises its head, spreads its neck, hisses in a threatening manner, and is ready to attack if the opponent does not retreat. In a harsh ecosystem like Namibia, cobras are not just hunters, but also respected forces, where every move can determine life. Under the dry Namibian sun, where the wind carries sand dust across the cracked land, it is not just four-legged predators that face off. In a hidden corner of the low bushes, two black shadows appeared. They were two male cobras, both adults, with the instinct to dominate. They did not move quickly, but slowly slithered, their heads raised high, their bodies lifted off the ground. Both opened their gill covers wide, their bodies bulging as if to show off their size. There was no hissing. This was not a hunt, but a confrontation ritual. They raised their front halves, staring at each other like ancient warriors probing for gaps. Their bodies undulated in symmetrical circles, each movement a warning. Sand and dust silently rose under their light swats. And then, both sprang up, squeezing each other. The fight could last for several minutes. Until one side gave in, quietly retreating from the territory. The winner raised his head high, his gill covers still wide open, sweeping the air as a declaration of sovereignty. For it, the battle is not about destruction, but about order. The cobra is not only a symbol of power and quiet death, but also a species with a unique reproductive cycle. Controlled by environmental changes and chemical cues, as the dry season gradually gives way to the first rains in Namibia, the pheromones of female snakes spread through the air, attracting males from hundreds of meters away. mating process lasts for hours and many times. After mating, the female snake finds a safe place to lay eggs. Depending on the size of her body and living conditions, the cobra can lay from 10 to 40 eggs at a time. Unlike most other snakes, the female snake will protect the nest during the incubation period of 6 to 10 weeks. When the eggs hatch, the baby snakes are already venomous. They do not need the mother's guidance, immediately separating from the herd and starting their own journey of survival. In the same arid land of Namibia, where the sun is scorching the ground and shade is a luxury, the creatures that seem to be the weakest are creating a resilient defense system against the most fearsome predators. Meerkat, a small animal of the mongoose family. With a height of only about 25 to 35 centimeters, a slender body, grey-brown fur covered with black stripes along the back and black eyes with dark outlines like pencil. Despite their fragile appearance, they possess a spirit of vigilance and solidarity that stands out in the wild. They live in large herds, usually from 20 to more than 30 individuals, living together in complex underground burrow systems dug in the heart of the arid desert. Every morning, the herd will leave the burrow, forming small groups to search for insects, reptiles, bird eggs, and sometimes scorpions. Which are dangerous enemies to most species, but are a favorite meal of meerkats. They have an amazing immunity to many types of venom. The most special thing about meerkats is their ability to guard and assign roles in the herd. While some forage, there will always be at least one individual standing upright, using its hind legs as a support, raising its head to observe the surroundings. If it detects danger, it will emit a characteristic alarm sound, and immediately the whole herd retreats to a safe place. Beneath their cute appearance and small body, meerkats are the embodiment of a close-knit, intelligent and brave society. The breeding season of meerkats usually coincides with the warmer and wetter months of the year, when food is plentiful and living conditions are favorable. In each group, only one dominant pair, usually the oldest and strongest male and female, is allowed to breed. The remaining individuals, even siblings, will take on the role of protector, hunter, and caretaker of the young. After mating, the female is pregnant for about 11 weeks before giving birth to between 2 and 5 young. The young are born blind and hairless, completely dependent on their mother and the rest of the group for protection. During the first few days, they stay in the nest, while the other members take turns guarding and foraging for food. When the young begin to toddle out of the burrow, the life of training begins. They were taking part in hunts, observing and learning how to safely kill venomous prey. The sun's shadows were long on the dry ground. A group of small meerkats were groping along the tree roots, digging for prey. The young meerkats followed, occasionally looking up at the adults and then mimicking the digging. On the other side, a cobra was silently slithering forward, its body winding through the dry, sunburned grass, its eyes fixed on the small shadows moving near it. But the meerkats had detected the presence of the intruder. In a matter of seconds, the atmosphere changed. The leader stood up straight on his hind legs, his eyes locked on the approaching shadow. Immediately, the other 3 adults moved forward, forming an arc blocking the snake's path. Small growls came out, not loud but full of determination. The snake raised its head. Its neck puffed out, its prominent hood spreading out like a threatening signal. Mouth slightly open, tongue continuously darting in and out. It was also ready. Two worlds, two opposing survival strategies, now faced each other. The leader of the meerkats took the initiative to approach. Suddenly, the snake sprang up. The ambush was suffocating. Only a few minutes. With no clear winner, the cobra took the initiative to retreat, slithering into the grass. No one died. No blood was shed. But once again, the small world had defended itself against one of Namibia's most dangerous predators. Toughness is not in size, but in the spirit of not retreating. In the distance, another shadow moves silently. Not a meerkat, but a larger, bolder relative. The striped mongoose. A fearless wild warrior. is one of the boldest small mammals in South Africa. They have a stocky body, about 30 to 45 centimeters long, a tail almost as long as their body. Their fur is short and thick, greyish-brown with black stripes running across their backs, creating an appearance that is both effective camouflage in the bushes and makes them stand out as small warriors in the dry savanna. Small, agile eyes always sparkle with alertness. A pointed muzzle, small round ears set low on the head, contributing to the ability to dig and observe constantly. Sharp curved claws, specialized for digging burrows or digging for prey in sandy soil. They live in large herds of 10 to 40 individuals with a strict social organization, closely coordinating when foraging and defending. The striped mongoose is famous for its courage and ability to confront enemies that are superior in size, including venomous snakes. They use tactics of encirclement, distraction, and simultaneous attack to neutralize opponents. This species has a special reproductive habit, strongly communal. In a large herd, many females can mate and give birth at the same time, usually at the beginning of the rainy season when food sources are abundant. After about 60 to 70 days of gestation, each female gives birth to 2 to 6 young. Surprisingly, the young are cared for collectively. The older members of the herd will take turns watching, feeding, and teaching the young how to survive, like a wild school. The diet of the striped mongoose is very diverse, from insects, spiders, small reptiles, to eggs and even venomous snakes. They have a certain immunity to venom. They were digging in the sand. They sensed a strange noise. The pack stopped. It had also sensed the presence of the following eyes. Its head was raised. Its neck began to swell. Its familiar cap slowly opened like a threatening curtain. But in front of such a large pack of enemies, it could not retreat. There was only one option left: to fight. A few of them closed in from behind. With skillful tactics, they distracted, harassed, and pressed on. The atmosphere was tense. Suddenly, both sides charged. hunt ended quickly, but not easily. The banded mongoose pack had proven once again, in the wild, it is not only venom that is scary, it is also the cohesion and intelligence of the little ones. As the last noise died down and the footprints faded into the hot sand from afar, another creature was quietly entering the scene. The leopard, a perfectly hidden predator, and the embodiment of death on the edge of the Namibian desert. Its body is about 1.5 meters long, about 70 centimeters high at the shoulder, covered with smooth golden fur, scattered with black spots like apricot blossoms. It helps to camouflage perfectly in the sunlight of the sparse forest, and also makes it different from other leopards. Its amber eyes always exude a sharp and cautious look. Its body is compact but muscular, flexible, can rush at lightning speed, and is the best tree climber among big cats. They live alone, preferring to be active at night or at dawn. It is the ideal time to ambush prey in the dark or low light. Unlike lions or hyenas that are noisy and herded, leopards choose solitude and secrecy as their weapons. During the breeding season, females will signal when they are in heat. They mate for a short period of time, but fiercely. After about 90 to 100 days of pregnancy, females give birth to 1 to 3 cubs in a secluded and inaccessible place. The cubs are blind at birth and need several months to be old enough to leave the den. The mother leopard takes care of them alone, teaching them to hunt and climb trees until the cubs are strong enough to live independently. The leopard's diet is extremely diverse, from antelopes, rabbits, to rodents, birds and reptiles. In Namibia, where food is scarce and the ground is hot, they can attack even agile and intelligent species. And the striped mongoose would also become one of their menus. But on that hot afternoon, when the smell of dry sunlight and dust mixed in the air, its sharp eyes discovered something unusual. A group of striped mongooses were gathering under the shade of a tree near the rocky beach, busy digging in the ground for insects. None of them realized that they had been targeted. The leopard lowered its body, each step as soft as smoke gliding through the dry grass. the wind was favorable. It held its breath, keeping every muscle from making a sound. Just a small mistake. The whole group would disappear into the maze of underground caves immediately. The closer it got, the brighter its golden eyes became, locking onto a small striped mongoose. The opportunity had come. The hunt ended quickly. The striped mongoose group could only retreat helplessly. Even though the hunters can resist the venom against the larger predators, they can only become prey without being able to fight back. In the arid land of Namibia, where darkness and light always change roles, life continues according to the harshest laws. Every species is a hunter and can also become prey. From the venomous snakes silently lurking in the hot sand, to the mongoose groups united against danger, or the silent ambush of leopards. All combine into a symphony of survival, where every beat is a choice between loss and continuing. Namibia is not just desert and sandstorm. It is a natural arena where life is carved by uncompromising confrontations, where small courage is enough to make death falter. If you love the breathtaking battles, subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell so you don't miss any of the wild moments that await.